have a look at opinion essays in this specific lesson. So as you know, there are 5 types of essays. We've had a look at the different types of essays. So now we're going to have a look at the first type, which is the opinion or argumentative style essay. Okay. Now, having a look at these type of essays, right, they will ask you to give your own opinion about a certain essay question. So they could ask you, what is your opinion? Do you agree or disagree? To what extent do you agree or disagree? Sometimes they even ask you, oops, let me just select a column. Sometimes they ask you, do you agree? They don't really ask you, do you disagree? But they ask you another question type, do you agree? Okay. So they could ask you, do you agree? Do you agree or disagree? To what extent do you agree? What is your opinion? Or to what extent do you agree or disagree? So either way, they could ask you for these 4 typical types of questions, right? Now, having a look at it, what are the common mistakes that students do in this style of essay? The first one is that sometimes they don't state their opinion, right? They write about everything, but they don't write their opinion. It is important that you write your opinion at the start. It would be good. Okay, but if they ask you discuss both views and give your opinion, sometimes you could write it at the end. But usually if they ask you, do you agree or disagree, to what extent do you agree, it's nice to start off by giving your opinion in the introduction. That is, not follow the structure, paraphrase the question, put your opinion, and then what exactly you're going to write in the essay. But put the opinion in the intro. Then giving arguments for both views. Now, if I ask you, do you like to eat apples or bananas? You don't say, oh, I like to eat apples and a bit of bananas as well. You get to choose this one or the other one. Okay, so if it's this one or the other one, you can select either one. So it would be nice if you could talk about one view. Okay, so one view would be better if you can take a stand and say, I agree, I disagree, or I agree with this point and I disagree with this point, without saying, I agree a bit, I also disagree a bit, but you don't know which one, okay? And then sometimes students don't support their opinion because they forget what they're writing. And that is why I always say planning is important. Whatever essay you write, planning is important, okay? You should choose the side that you can develop the best, okay? It doesn't matter which side you take, okay? It doesn't matter if you actually honestly agree about it or disagree about it, okay? If you can write about one specific side better, then select it, okay? It doesn't matter which side of the argument you take or even that you actually agree with it, or even if you accept that there are 2 sides of the argument. So it means that it's better if you could agree or you could disagree, take one stand. But if you are having a balanced view, then you say, I agree to these facts and I disagree to these facts. You need to have a clear view, okay? Make sure that you don't change your opinion partway through your essay, right? You need to state your opinion in the introduction and the conclusion. So I've done this when I did the structure, and that's why I said it's important for you to have it in both places, okay? But if it is a discussion essay where they tell you discuss both sides and then you tell us your opinion, you could have it at the end if you want to. But in opinion or argumentative style essays, it's important that you have it in the introduction to tell the reader what exactly your opinion is, and then later on you remind the reader in the conclusion, based on these points, this is why I agree or disagree to the above statement, okay? Alright, so as you know, the essay structure, I've done it when I did the essay structure part as well, very vaguely with you, right? But you have the introduction, okay? So you paraphrase the question. Then you have your opinion. And you also have your what question tag answered. What exactly are you going to write in the essay? And then you have your body paragraph 1. So outline the first reason for supporting your view, and then you explain it and you put an example to work on your idea. Then you write your body para 2, where you write the second reason and you support it by using explanations and examples. Third one is optional, not compulsory. If you feel that you need a third point, go for it. Then make sure you write down the third reason and support it, right? Finally, you have the conclusion where you summarize your key reasons along with your opinion. All right? So that is the basic structure. So you remember we have the intro, we have the body paras, and then we have the conclusion. So in the intro, you paraphrase the question, you write your opinion, and then you write what exactly are you going to write in that paragraph. Then you have your supporting paragraphs. So supporting paragraph 1, or we call them your body paragraphs. You have the topic sentence, okay, which you write the first reason for your view, and then you explain it using examples. So you write your supporting sentences, and then you write a concluding sentence if necessary. If not, sometimes with the example itself, some students round off the idea. So that's also okay, right? So then finally you have your conclusion, where you write a summary of the points that you wrote above, and that will support your view, okay? Right, so before we have a look at all of the practice questions, let's just do an example together, okay? So that I teach you a bit on the structure, we have a look at a sample, and then you can do all the practice questions, okay? Because now I believe you should be writing essays on your own. I'll also be doing a few samples with you, right? But more or less you should be doing it, okay? So let's have a look at an essay question together. Right, so let's write down an essay question for you to practice. Many people believe that social networking sites such as Facebook have had, let's just move this a bit to the middle, a huge negative impact on both individuals and society. To what extent do you agree? Right? Okay, so here now they are giving you a question, okay? So many people believe that social networking sites, and they're giving you an example like Facebook, have had a huge negative impact on both, so they're telling you both individuals and society. To what extent do you agree? So you can say yes, you completely agree that it has a huge negative impact on individuals and society, or you could have a balanced view. Let me show you how to structure this balanced view. So you can say, no, I don't agree that it's bad for the individuals, okay? But I agree, yes, it is bad for the society. So before anything, let's plan our answer, okay? Oops. So let's plan our answer. So in the essay question, it's about the internet, okay? So in the introduction, I need to state my opinion, okay? So I say, no, it's not bad for individuals, but yes, it's bad for the society. And that's how I'm going to structure my essay. So, body para 1, why is it not bad for individuals? Because they could keep in touch with their friends and family, okay? They could gain knowledge. They could do online shopping. So you can pick and choose which ones you want. So I would say it's nice, they can keep in touch with their family and friends, okay? And they could also gain knowledge. I won't really talk about online shopping. So I brainstormed ideas and I thought that the first two would be the best options. Then body para 2, bad for society. Why is it bad for society? Because people don't talk and they don't keep in touch. So it's like that there's no specific society, or your neighborhood is not really linked with each other, okay? So, in conclusion, I think it's good for individuals and I think it's bad for society, and in future I think we should pay attention to these views, okay, so that people keep in touch with each other, okay. So here I'm going to write a balanced view, okay. Now to do that I need to paraphrase the question as well. Now let me have a look at some of the words and phrases, right? So I think huge negative impact, yes, we can paraphrase, okay. Society we can paraphrase. I don't really think we want to paraphrase the word individuals, so I'm going to circle it. I could talk about many people believe as well, okay. But I don't want to change social networking sites. I'd leave it as it is, okay. So let's have a look at an example, okay. I'm not going to say that you have to put it into your 3 parts, okay. I'll just try to merge one and write a quick one so that you could have a look at a sample, okay. Alright, so let's start off. Social networking sites For instance, Facebook are thought by some to have had detrimental effect on individual people as well as society and local communities. However, while I believe that such sites are mainly beneficial to the individual I agree that they have had a damaging effect on local communities. Okay, so you can then write firstly this essay will talk about how it's beneficial for the individuals, and secondly talk about the effect on local communities. But I thought I'm not going to do that because I will just touch on those two in the body paras, right? So what I've done here is this bit, I've paraphrased the question. And this bit, I've kind of written the opinion merged along with what exactly I'm going to write, okay? So I believe, that means however, I don't think it's wrong. I don't agree that it's got a huge negative effect. However, I believe that it is beneficial for the individuals, and I agree that it has a damaging effect on local communities. So I'm writing two sides. I'm writing I don't agree that it's bad for the individuals, but I agree that it is bad for the local community. Okay. So here, based on this, based on my little mind map, right? Oops. Based on my little mind map here, I'm now going to write my body para. Why is it not bad for individuals? Why is it bad for the society? Okay, so we could have a look at the body para 1. Okay, with regards to individuals the impact that online social media has had on each individual person has clear advantages. Firstly, right, let's write our first point. People from different countries are brought together through such sites as Facebook, whereas before the development of technology and social networking sites people rarely had the chance to meet or communicate with anyone outside of their immediate circle or community. Secondly, Facebook allows people to share knowledge. Now, if you have a look at our structure, okay, so we said, oops, I think this should be F here. Not I, okay, inside internet we're talking about Facebook, okay. So keep in touch with people and then you can share knowledge where people, if they get to know something, they post it on FB and you can share the knowledge, okay. So I've seen lots of videos and, you know, different clips, different, you know, information being shared on Facebook, and some of it can be really useful. So things that we don't know, we could learn as well, okay. So here, with regards to individuals, now let's see this one here, individuals. Shall we change the color? Oops, right. let me just change the color. With regards to individuals, has had on each individual has clear advantages. So it's talking about the positive aspects towards the individuals. So firstly, it connects people. Okay, they are being brought together with the people around the world, and it talks about before they couldn't do it, but now they can do it. So I haven't written an example really, but if you want you could put it. But because Facebook is like an example, that's the reason why we wouldn't write another example, because through such sites as Facebook, so we're talking about like an example, right? How people actually use Facebook, so they keep in touch with each other, and then you can kind of continue and explain your second para. Okay, now your first body para, which is the second para in the essay. So now we get into the second body para, which is your third paragraph in your entire essay. Okay, so second body para, but it will be your third paragraph in terms of your entire essay. Okay, so let's start writing the third paragraph. On the other hand, or you can say however, the effects that Facebook and other social networking sites have had on societies and local communities can only be seen as negative. Right, so let us just move this a bit up. Rather than individual people taking part in their local community, they are instead choosing to take more interest in people online. Consequently, the people within local communities are no longer forming close or supportive relationships. Furthermore, society as a whole is becoming increasingly disjointed and fragmented as people spend more time online with people they have never met face to face and who they are unlikely to ever meet in the future. Right, so now when we have a look at this paragraph, okay, you have to remember that we use cohesive devices to link our ideas together. So on the other hand, so I'm talking in terms of the other aspect, okay, we have had a look at the effect of social networking sites on the society as well as the local communities. That is of course seen as negative. So that's what I spoke about, if you remember, in my introduction, because that's what I had in my plan. Okay, so I said yes, it's not bad for individuals, but yes, it's bad for the society. Okay, so that's what I have written, and that's what is in my second body para. And that is why I have developed that as an answer in my second body para. Okay, so then I go on to talk about as to how it is bad. Okay, so they don't really talk to each other, they rather be on Facebook, okay, and they try to have all of these relationships where they'll never meet these people, they're highly unlikely to ever meet them in the future, so they forget about the supportive and the positive close relationships and the bonds that they have in the society. So I've explained, again I didn't quite try to use an example because Facebook is like an example, okay, but I've explained it nice in length with a lot of explanation. Okay, so now I'm coming to the end, which is my last paragraph. You can write in conclusion or to conclude. In conclusion, comma, although social networking sites have brought individuals closer together, they have not had the same effect on society or local communities. Local communities scroll this up a bit. Local communities should do more to try and involve local people in local activities in order to promote the future of community life. Right, so here I have written the conclusion. Again, we use cohesive devices in conclusion and then I write a summary, okay? So this bit is a summary. Social networking sites have brought individuals closer together. That's my opinion and that's what I have written as well. They have not had the same effect on the society or local community. So that again is my view and I've kind of merged it with the summary, okay? So then we write the last bit, local communities should do more and in future that would be much more healthier for the community life. So this is a future trend or this is future or it is a prediction. Okay, this is a summary plus the opinion together, right? So now I think you understand if you want to write a balanced view, how do you write it? Okay, now I told you it's better to write one stance, either you agree or disagree, but I thought I'll teach you something like this as well, so that in case you want to write a balanced view, that would help you. Okay? Right, so moving on. A big salary is much more important than job satisfaction. Do you agree or disagree? Big salary, important. Job satisfaction, I'll leave it as it is. So think about how are you going to paraphrase the question, how are you going to plan your answer. Take a few minutes, plan your answer and then you know how many minutes to take. You can take 40 minutes and write your answer. Alright, so I hope you would have finished. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, draw up a little sketch. I'm going to plan my answer before I write it, okay? So I'm just going to write, okay, this talks about salary and jobs, okay? So in my introduction, a big salary is much more important than job satisfaction. For me personally, I don't agree. Maybe you can agree, you can think money is important. In my life, I don't think money is that important. I think satisfaction is what really matters and that's why probably I'm doing such a job. If you really want to be rich, then you would choose other options, okay? So in my intro, I disagree. Okay, I disagree and I think job satisfaction is important. So why do I think like that? So one reason is I think that you cannot buy happiness, so it's a desire, fulfillment desire, okay, because money cannot buy everything. So I think it's that fulfillment, accomplishment feeling that you've got, okay. And the second reason, I think it keeps you motivated, okay. So in conclusion, I would say as to why I disagree and summary of the points. So here I would need to write about my desire of fulfillment and that it keeps me motivated, okay. So this is my sketch, this is my outline. So I'm going to disagree that a big salary is more important. I'm going to say no, job satisfaction is what is important because of that accomplishment, the desired feeling that I get, okay, because I believe that money cannot buy everything. So, okay, cannot buy happiness, it cannot buy everything under the sun. It can buy you materialistic things, right, but it cannot buy you everything like the peace of mind that you have, that happiness that you get, okay. And it also keeps you motivated, okay, and that again you cannot buy with all the money that you have in the world. So that's just my perception. You can disagree, you can say no, we need money. When we have money, we can get big houses, you get fame, you get all the beautiful cars, you get anything under the sun that you want to. And that's good. Sometimes it makes people happy as well, okay? So this is how I feel. So I'm going to jot down an answer according to my structure. Now, if you have agreed, that's still fine, but let's write an essay and have a look at the structure that we looked at before. So, in the introduction, you should write the paraphrase question, your opinion, and if possible, what exactly are you going to write would be nice, okay? Right, so let's have a look at the introduction. It is often argued that it is more advantageous to choose a job with high wage even if it does not appeal to you at all. I completely disagree with this opinion and think that Job satisfaction is much more important than salary. Firstly, this essay will discuss right. So here I have first paraphrased the question, right? It is often argued that it is more advantageous to choose a job with high wage even if it does not appeal to you at all. So this is like the question paraphrased. Okay. Then I completely disagree with this opinion and think that job satisfaction is far more important than a salary. So this bit here talks about your opinion. Next, you can write down, firstly, this essay will discuss, what's the first one? That it is important to have self-satisfaction, and secondly, it will discuss about the fact that it keeps one motivated. You know, you will write what exactly you are going to write in this essay. Okay? Then we start off with our first body para. So what is our first body para going to focus about? It's going to focus about the fulfillment, the feeling that you feel like, you know, everything's been achieved, the fulfillment, that feeling that money cannot buy everything, okay? Right, so let's start writing it. Firstly, I believe that job satisfaction gives people a sense of fulfillment that no money can guarantee. Right? Even if someone is earning a high salary but feels tensed and compromises with his conscience, right? So conscience is a person's moral sense of right and wrong, okay? So that will guide someone's behavior. This person will not enjoy his life. While pursuing one's interests, will always bring pleasure and feeling of satisfaction. For example, a lot of famous researchers made their career choices not because of appealing wages, but because they were passionate about science. Let me just write it properly. Science. Let's write down without saying that. Therefore, it is more important to choose the kind of work that makes you happy than to look only at a high salary. Right. So moving on into the second one. Secondly, we talk about motivation. Doing what you like keeps a person motivated and therefore leads to a career growth. In other words, there is a strong relationship Let's just move this a bit this side. Between job satisfaction and productivity. People who love their jobs can easily excel in their fields of work and achieve better results than those who put salary on the first place. For instance, you can write an example there, right, if you like. I'm just going to write the conclusion. To conclude, I strongly believe that job satisfaction is more beneficial than high salary because it makes people happy and motivated. Now here you can write an example. So I've just left a space there, right? Now let's have a look at our structure. So here we start with the intro, right? And then firstly I'm going to talk about how it is a feeling of fulfillment, right? A sense of fulfillment and how it makes you feel happy. And the next para we are going to talk about motivation. So firstly is my linker. I believe that it has a sense of fulfillment, okay? And then I explain it and then I write an example. For example, and I talk about a personal example, right? Then I have my second point, that it keeps a person motivated, and it talks more about it, and you could write an example. Okay, I haven't written it, but hopefully you could do it. And then in conclusion, or to conclude my linker, I write about my opinion and what do I think that makes people happy and motivated. I didn't write a prediction because there's nothing to predict about it. I felt that there was nothing much. So I kept it really short and brief. Okay. So hopefully you've done a similar answer. Now, as I always tell you, the key the most important one, or the key fact, is that you actually write, and the key to success is that you actually write an answer. No matter how many sample answers you go through that I write, okay, you have to make sure you do it on your own, and that's when you can actually get a good grade, okay. Don't forget, it's good if you can get them assessed by someone as well. Here is the next question. Some people believe that reading stories from a book is better than watching TV or playing computer games for children. To what extent do you agree or disagree? Okay, so hopefully you've jotted down a few points around it and then written your answer. Let me just draw a little mind map for this, okay? So if we have a look at the essay question about TV or playing computer games, okay, so we could write an intro, okay, and I would completely agree. Why? Body para 1, because reading is an active activity and you need concentration, understanding, and imagination. Second body para helps to master the language. The language or languages. Right? Third body para, you could talk about the advantages of computer games and TV and then say refute, okay? And then say why they are not better than reading. Conclusion. Summary of the opinion and supporting points or supporting ideas. Right? So here I have just taught, there are a few ways that you can do it, okay? So I'm trying to teach you all the possible ways that you could look at a question, so that when it comes to the exam, you're nice and confident, and when you go to the exam, you know, okay, she's taught me all these ways, I could use this way, this is the best way for this type of question, okay? So some people believe that reading stories from a book is better than watching TV or playing computer games for children. To what extent do you agree or disagree? Now here, there are things that you need to consider, two aspects. They're talking about reading storybooks is better than watching television or playing computer games. You've got reading on one side, which is better than playing computer games or watching television. So I would say I agree with it. Okay, I completely agree with it. Why? Because I believe reading is an active activity. Okay, you require concentration, right? And you need to be able to understand. It also helps you to imagine, like stories. Once upon a time, there was a little girl named Thumbelina. So you imagine, okay? The next one, it helps you to master different languages. If you're reading in Sinhala, if you're reading in English, both languages you can master, okay? Or if it's one specific language, then yes, even that. Third body para, I would like you to talk about the advantages of watching TV and playing computer games, okay? But refute and say, but it is not better than reading, okay? They do have advantages, but reading is much better than these two. Now some people can say, no, we don't want to write this, we just write these two. That's fine. You could do that, okay? This is just another way you could do it, and if you do it and if you see answers like that, it's not wrong, okay? So you refute back and say, no, these do have advantages, but reading is better, okay? So finally, in your conclusion, you write a summary of your opinion as to why you say you agree, and then why you agree because of these two reasons, okay? So I'm not going to write a sample for you because now you know I've done two with you. So it's the same structure. You've got your intro, these points, you agree, and then you've got your paraphrase question, opinion, and then what exactly are you going to write in your essay? Body 1, body 2, body 3 would be nice to see, and then conclusion. Alright, so moving on, you have practice question 3 here. People are surrounded by advertising which has an increasing effect on our lives. Do you think the positive effects of this outweigh the negative effects? Now these kind of outweigh questions are a bit difficult, okay, but it doesn't mean that you can't do it. It's a bit difficult, but it's a probable type of essay question, okay? So what is your opinion? Do you actually think that the positive effects outweigh the negative effects? What is your opinion? Okay. So I'd like you to take a few minutes first and plan your answer. Okay. And then you can slowly write it. But I would like to, go through the plan with you mainly. And then you could have a look at writing it on your own later onwards. But make sure you time it for 40 minutes, okay? And when you do, remove the time that you've spent for planning, maybe about 5 to 10 minutes max to max. I would say 5 minutes is more than enough, okay? Right, so take a few minutes, pause the video here. Alright, so hopefully you have, drawn up a little sketch as to how you would want your essay. Now, in my context, right, so it's talking about advertisements. So I'm just going to write A in the middle. And we're going to write the introduction. So in the introduction, what should we have? We should paraphrase the questions. We should paraphrase the question. So that you would definitely have. And then you would have your opinion. So they're asking me, what is your opinion? So people are surrounded by all the advertisements, right, which has an increasing effect on our lives. Do you think the positive effects outweigh the negative effects? I agree with it. I think there are more positives than negatives. That's just my view. You could also add on to it, right? You could disagree. I agree with it, okay? Then I would write my body para 1. So in that, I would highlight that advertisements highlight social issues and culture of various countries. I would also write that backbone of many economies, right? And then you could write an conclusion where you write your opinion and supporting points. Right, so some of you could also think we could write a body para 3, talk about the disadvantages of advertisements and refute back. Could do, okay? Not wrong, could do. That is a possible way. So you could write the disadvantages and then refute and then say why it has more advantages, okay? So basically what I've said is in body para 1, advertisements, they talk about social issues and about various cultures. Sometimes it's nice to see good advertisements and it actually helps the society. The next one, I've also spoken about that it is the backbone of a country's economy. So you could talk about how important it is. And you could talk about the disadvantages and then refute back to, and then finally come back and say, this is my opinion, I agree, and then because of based on these points. Right, so you could take time and write down the answer based on your mind map. This is just my outline, okay? Now I'm going to put up a few questions. So I'd like you to draw your mind map and then write the answer. Space exploration is much too expensive and the money should be spent on more important things. What is your opinion? So do you agree or disagree? Okay, or if it is a balanced view, what is it? Take time, plan your answer and write the answer. Next question. Currently, a lot of people in college are doing academic study. We should encourage them to learn vocational skill just after school like plumbers and electricians. Do you agree or disagree? Personally, I agree with this. I think in Sri Lanka it's a good way and it would be quite useful for us, right? But we hardly encourage any vocational skills in Sri Lanka, right? So this is just my personal view. You could jot down what you think about it and then write your essay. The most important thing is writing it, intro, body paras and conclusion. And your final homework is everyone should become vegetarian because they do not need to eat meat to have a healthy diet. What is your opinion on this? Some of you could agree, some of you could disagree, some of you could have a balanced view. So some of you could have either view. I of course would say I disagree. Okay, so I think you should have certain meat items to get the relevant nutrients. That depends on what you think. I know there are vegetarians and they're quite healthy, so you could disagree with my view. Alright, so with that we have come to the end of the lesson. And today we were having a look at opinion essays. We had a look at the structure. I've anyway taught you a quick structure when we were looking at essay structures, right? And in this one we were looking at it more in detail. The types of opinion essays that you could get. So you have the main type, which is opinion or argumentative style. And under that you could get different types of questions. Do you agree? Do you agree or disagree? To what extent do you agree? What is your opinion? So with that we come to the end of the lesson, which we were talking about opinion essays.